Hey there everybody, it's me, Cosmo the Coder, and welcome to another of my humble monthly bundle reviews. This month it's November 2016. Not long till Christmas, guys, and hopefully my sort of end of year review for these sort of bundles. I know I sort of promised it last month, but I haven't got around to it. I apologise now if you hear any sort of banging or anything. It's November 5th, obviously here in the UK, and fireworks are raging as we speak. Anyway, without further ado, let's go and have a look at this bundle, shall we? It should be quite interesting, because I think there's quite a few games that I'm quite fond of here. First up, we have Broforce. Now, if you haven't heard of Broforce, then what's wrong with you? You know, you should have heard of it by now. It's essentially a pixel graphics action American co-op 2D platform with shooter. Platformer shooter, if that's even a genre. That basically has all the sort of nostalgia and elements from sort of 80s, 90s action movies and cult classics. Sort of, it's got sort of every incarnation of Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, Conan the Barbarian, and everything. But they've sort of altered the sort of names of things. So you've got you got Bronan the Barbarian. You've got Bromando, which is Commando from the Commando movie. Duh. You've got Rambro. You've basically got every sort of action hero that there was in the 80s and 90s that has a cult classic film or films attached to them. It's £11.99 on Steam or $14.99 on Steam for the American people. Great reviews, 94% recently, 97% overall, and 83% on Metacritic. It's a fun shooter. Let's put it this way. I played it all the way through. Granted, I've been meaning to sort of finish it. I did it as a sort of a Cosmo Tries Games, which was kind of bending the rules a bit because I sort of took part in when it was just a beta before it sort of came to Steam properly and everything. I can heartily recommend this game. It's a fun shooter, and one of the cool elements about it is that it is co-op, both local and multiplayer. So you can just simply jump in and jump out whenever you feel like it. It's got about as much plot as well, I do most of the time, but you don't need plot when it comes down to just basically going around killing terrorists and using a large variety of silly weapons and explosions. You know, it is what it is. It doesn't hold. You know, it doesn't make out to be anything more than simply a crazy, ridiculous, over-the-top shooter. All right, that's enough. Moving on. Next up, we have a game called Rebel Galaxy. Now, I have to admit, I didn't really know much about Rebel Galaxy. I had to actually sort of look it up and everything. It's £14.99 on Steam, or $19.99. It's an open world RPG, sort of, it's set in space. It's basically a sort of it's described as a swashbuckling space adventure with action, packed combat, and exploration, discovery, trading, the general sort of things that are in sort of these sort of space exploration sort of games. And that's my phone telling me I have to do something at 10 o'clock, which I've already done. Basically, it's supposed to be sort of a large, expansive sort of universe, sort of like the sort of space sim games you see around about nowadays. Sort of Mass Effect-y, more than sort of the general sort of multiplayer sort of thing, but massive multiplayer thing. That's what I'm trying to say. But overall, not a bad game at all. 83% recently, 87% overall. The only real sort of criticism that I see is that it's just sort of not. It's sort of, you play it for 20 hours and can complete it, but then there's not much more for you to do. It's not sort of a huge open world. You sort of, once you do most of the things in the game, you're pretty much done with it. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, in that it has a fairly good ending, a decent ending. What can I say? Next up, we have a game that has a very unique and artistic style. A game called Beyond Eyes. Now, Beyond Eyes is, well, let's do the prices. It's £9.99 on Steam, $14.99 for US. It's essentially a sort of an atmospheric walking simulator where you play a little girl called Ray, or V. I always mispronounce these names, but I'm sure lots of people say. And you basically explore the world as a blind little girl, and that's why the artistic style, as you can see it, is the way it is. The idea is that you're only sensing the world to a certain element, so to a certain extent. You can only sense so far, so you can sort of zoom in and zoom back, you move backwards and forwards, and things sort of disappear from view and reappear from view. It's kind of like a sort of 3D-ish version of the name's gone out of my head. It'll come to me. Never mind. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought now. I'll get back onto it. So basically, you have to explore the world searching for your cat. Not terribly great reviews. Well, good reviews. 77% overall and 60% on Metacritic. The common complaint about the game is that it is a walking simulator, put simply, and that the fact that there's not much more to do. You should just walk around and try and explore. There's nothing more to do. There's no real interaction. There's more sort of just general sort of, well, looking around and doing things. Really, it is a walking simulator, but that's as much as it goes. I'll try and think of the name of that game. Anyway, next up we have a game called Cathy Rain. Yes, Cathy Rain, which is a point-and-click adventure game set in the 90s, where you play as a girl called Cathy Rain, who is a strong-willed journalism major who's come to terms with her own troubled past, and she decides to investigate the mysterious death of her recently deceased grandfather. She's got a motorcycle and cigarettes and a notepad, apparently. That's according to the blurb, anyway. And she has to delve into a local mystery surrounding her hometown that will take her on a harrowing journey full of emotional and personal turmoil. The usual sort of stuff. It's $10.99 on Steam, $14.99 for US. Great reviews, to be honest with you. 93% recently, 92% overall, 77% on Metacritic. But then adventure games tend to have that sort of element on Metacritic. They tend to sort of split people. Generally speaking, though, it looks and feels like a good, decent adventure game, and it's definitely going to go on my list of things to try when I do decide to pick up Cosmo Tries It again. So yeah, looks good, I have to say. Very sort of reminiscent of the old point-and-click adventure games. Sorry, my throat is really sore. I'm struggling to swallow here. Not that you care. Anyway, moving on. Styx, Master of Shadows. Now, Styx, Master of Shadows is sort of an infiltration stealth RPG game set in a sort of dark fantasy universe where you sort of sneak and steal and assassinate your way through the game. You play as Styx, which is a goblin that is almost 200 years old. So it's kind of similar to sort of the old sort of thief games, but with magical like I said, general sort of fantasy sort of background and storyline. It's actually one of the most expensive games in the bundle at the moment. It's still $24.99 or $29.99 for the US. I have been meaning to get around to playing this game, actually. It looks quite cool. I'm a fan of sort of the stealth infiltration sort of games. I do sometimes sort of lose my patience and sort of try and charge into things. But I grew up with a sort of during the Thief games, the first sort of iteration, Thief, the Metal Age and all that kind of stuff. And really enjoyed them. Granted, the zombies scared the crap out of me, but then I was younger then, so hands up. That's the way it was. Good reviews, 80% recently, 83% overall. Generally considered a very cool little game. Not bad. Now, StarG Valley was the game that we were sort of dangled in front of us as sort of a tantalizer. I'll be careful how I phrase it here. StarG Valley is kind of a simulation RPG game where you basically build up your sort of own farm and explore the surroundings to sort of help construct a new community and the old style RPG-esque kind of game. It's very reminiscent to sort of the games like Zelda and everything, and any sort of, I suppose, classic RPG game. In that And not only does it contain sort of a farming simulation system, but it also allows you to explore, talk to various people, explore buildings and caves and so on and so forth. Great reviews, really good reviews. 95% recently, 97% overall, and 88% on Metacritic. It's £10.99 on Steam, £14.99. Admittedly, it's not necessarily the kind of game I would actually play, but it does sort of, reading the reviews and everything, it does look an extremely interesting kind of game. I don't know if I'll ever play it because it's kind of well, it's kind of like the problem with Minecraft. You'll play it for quite a long time, build up everything, and do all this stuff, and eventually you'll hit sort of a point where you've done everything that's meaningful. Needless to say, who knows? You know, the world is my oyster. Whatever. Next up, we have Pirate Pop Plus, which has only just come out on Steam, I admit. It's $3.99 on Steam, or about $4.99. It's a retro arcade game, which is very similar to what you want to call it? I'll just mute that. Very similar to sort of the sort of Game Boy-esque graphics, whereas you sort of got one sort of general palette of colours. You basically play as a pirate using or a variety of piratey characters. You can change your character, and using your anchor, you basically pop bubbles and collect coins, trying to avoid the enemies and defeat what's called the Bubble Pirate, which is a very sort of, you know, a minimal sort of plot element. And to be honest, it doesn't really need it. It looks quite cool. It's quite a little arcadey game. Review-wise, I haven't actually put them in, but generally speaking, although it's only been out a day, it's been quite well received. There's some complaints about the fact that the graphics are the old sort of Game Boy / Tiger console-y appearance sort of thing, and so people asking why would you want to play a game like that. But I think that just adds to the character more than anything. But fair enough, it's kind of a, you know, excuse me, it's basically a fun little game that just sort of enjoy and reminisce about the old days, I think. Now, next up we have the The Humble Original, called Keyboard Sports: The Final Tribute. Now, I actually saw some sort of stuff about this, and someone actually pointed out some sort of reports on it from the news. And so I might be waking up. I'll just mute that. So, what is it? It's basically a sort of a party game, but that actually involves the use of your keyboard rather than, say, a joypad or joystick. And it looks actually quite quirky, quite intuitive, quite clever. Sorry, I can hear someone screaming. It's about time to actually use the keyboard in a more meaningful way, sort of like Raving Rabbids, but with sort of using the keyboard to sort of dictate how the character moves and everything else like that. It looks quite quirky, it looks quite clever. I'm interested to see how it's going to work with a sort of ergonomic keyboard, because mine's the screen, the ones that sort of split up. Generally speaking, it looks quite fun. From what I understand, it's not completed yet. It's not finished. It's still sort of an early access-ish game, but it's not actually on Steam or anything, so you can't actually compare prices or anything. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I'm quite interested, because it's about time they did a party game with keyboards, especially when you look at it when they said, you know, press enter to enter the game. I think that's quite cool, quite a clever little thing. So that's pretty much it for the bundle. The early unlock, or the thing that they're sort of dangling in front of us this month, is a game called Dragon's Dogma: Dark Arisen, which is an open world RPG-esque game. Looks interesting, I have to say, but as I always say, I'm never going to pay early, so it's not going to make me buy this bundle any sooner than it comes out when it comes out next month. Or, well, you know, it basically unlocks a week before before this releases. So all that's left is to say, what do I think of this game? This bundle? Well, it's quite a cool bundle. I quite like it. It's quite diverse. It's got a different sort of genre in every capacity. Styx, from what I understand, is a good game. StarG Valley is an exceptionally good game. Broforce is definitely a good game. And yeah, little one is awake. I'm gonna mute that just a second and finish this video. Come on, mute. Mute. There we go. Right. So it's definitely a good monthly bundle, I think. So I will give it a good solid 8 out of 10. I think that it's a fair bundle, and definitely an improvement over the summer sort of lapse in bundles in games, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm still not making any sense. And that is pretty much it for me for this bundle review. As always, like and subscribe for more stuff like this, and we have got one more Humble Monthly bundle before the end of the year, I think, anyway, depending on, unless this surprises with something. I will be doing a Humble Monthly review, sort of end of year review. I know I sort of said that last month, but I just haven't got around to it, and I plan to. But as always, guys, comment, let me know what you think, and I shall see you next month for another Humble Monthly. I'm Cosmo the Coder, and as always, happy gaming.